Q dropped some more breadcrumbs for us. And I wanted to go back to some previous posts here. This way it will all make sense of what Q is trying to tell us. And I do believe that the deep state, they are preparing for what is coming. And we know what's coming. D-Class, the Clinton investigation into emails, exposing everything, unsealing the indictments. And remember, Q has told us something very important, that the deep state, they might take the social media platforms and make them go dark. And I don't know if people have realized this, and we'll be discussing this a little bit later in this report, but YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, even Google, they've gone down multiple times in the last couple of weeks. And I do believe they are preparing for a social media blackout. We'll be discussing that in just a moment. But I wanted to start off with post 2475, where an anon in post 1197 said, will election fraud be revealed soon? Q said, yes, midterms are safe. Watch California. Under this, it says news unlocks. Now, out in California, it seems that people have been arrested for election fraud. And what they were doing is they were taking the homeless, giving them cigarettes, giving them cash, and using their signatures to vote. So they were forging their signatures on the state ballot, and they were using it to alter the voting. And the charges were filed 3 weeks ago, but made public yesterday. And this is from the Los Angeles Police Department. And what they're saying here, and this is coming from Officer Dion Joseph, that they paid individuals to sign their names. He said that's an assault on our democracy. He's absolutely right. And Q has told us to watch California. Now, we know a lot is going to be coming out very, very soon. We know that Q has set up placeholders. And we can see the mainstream media right now. They are preparing with projection. They're projecting out there to try to counter everything that's going to come out. Now, a couple of days ago, it was leaked about this indictment against Assange. Now, Trump is out there, and we didn't get any confirmation from the Department of Justice. They just said, oh yeah, sorry about that, and I think this was done on purpose. And this was to counter what was coming, and that was in a Clinton email investigation. Remember, WikiLeaks, Assange dumped all her emails, and I think they're trying to counter the story. Now, Trump, he said he doesn't know anything about this. He has no clue what is going on. He doesn't know if there is an indictment or not. We had no confirmation from the Department of Justice. But I wanted to go back to post 2322 because I do believe that this clears it all up. Q posted in 2322, October 3rd, gave us a link to the Freedom of Information Act website and told us, go to page 20, Assange arrest. And it says, by Marty Tory. And it's in brackets bold, Mad Hatter. Now, this letter, which was unclassified, this was 9/26/2018. This was addressed to Hillary Clinton, hdr22 at clintonemail.com. Subject was Assange arrest, etc. And it said, H, which is Hillary, been waiting to hear this great news. He must have made your life miserable. Simply a bad guy. So tired of people who try to damage the U.S. while the U.S. does so much for others. Where is the justice and common sense these days? Hope all the current world madness somehow gives you time to prepare for Christmas and enjoy these simple things. Took, and this is redacted, to pick out Christmas trees last weekend. If there is better stuff than that, I don't know what it is. Anyway, hope the WikiLeaker gets what is coming to him. Happy Christmas, Preps M. So they were actually talking about WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, about getting him. They've been trying to get him. And I believe they leaked this out to counter everything that is coming. To show that there was an indictment against Assange, so he's a bad guy. So you really shouldn't listen to him. And I think this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see that the mainstream media and the rest come out with more of these stories and project out there as the window closes. Now, out in North Korea, we see that North Korea has destroyed 10 border posts on the DMZ per agreement with South Korea. Now, there is peace going on around the world. It's very difficult to see it because you need to look very carefully at it. There's peace between North Korea and South Korea, the United States, China, and the rest. Peace is happening in Yemen right now. There's going to be peace in Syria. there's going to be peace in Libya, Lebanon. Remember, all of these wars, they were set up by the deep state. And there wasn't a winner or loser. They just wanted these wars to continue while they had their puppet regime in place to keep the petrodollar system going. And we can see that it's all falling apart right now, and they know this. Let's move on to Q's post. This is post 2494. And it starts off with the article of the Hill, and it's the House GOP to hold hearings into the Department of Justice probe of Hillary Clinton. And Mr. John Huber with the Department of Justice and the FBI, they've been having an investigation. At least part of his task was to look at the Clinton Foundation and what may or may not have happened as it relates to improper activity with that charitable foundation. So we've set a hearing date for December 5th. Now, we know the mainstream media, the deep state, the Clintons, they don't like this. They don't like that John Huber has been investigating all of this about the Clinton Foundation. And by the way, the Clinton Foundation donations, they've plummeted by 90%. So let's read the rest of what Q said here. December 5th. Now there's kill brackets around the D and it's capitalized and it's bold. So December 5th. D5, which is an avalanche. One of the largest avalanches recorded. And it says, nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. This election was not about fixing the economy, trade, borders, military, protecting our children, etc. Also, another corrupt politician or insider can simply undo it. This wasn't a Band-Aid fixed, which is brackets, all bold, Band-Aid. This was not simply another 4-year election, but a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. Q gave a link to Trump giving this speech that would get him elected about draining the swamp, going after all these individuals. Take a listen.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
So Q finishes up and says, panic in D.C. Q. Let's move on to post 2495. Q put up a Twitter link to Lisa May 62, which shows a picture of an eagle on General Flynn's Twitter account. Under it, it says, believe in American exceptionalism. It's for real. New York Times bestselling author, Field of Fight. Read it. I stand for the American principles and values. And then Q went on to say, together we win. Attacks on Whitaker will only intensify. Senate was the target, 53 to 47. Gave us a link to Reuters. Q. So let's look at what this article is. This is talking about how Senate Judiciary Chairman Grassley is going to be leaving his position, and he's going to be moving into a different position. And this position is going to be the chairman position, where he's the chairman of the Tax Writing Senate Finance Committee. Now, Lindsey Graham, he's going to be taking over the Senate Judiciary Committee chairman. So we can see that Lindsey Graham is moving into this position, and we discussed this before, but Q is letting us know this. Now it's Senator Lindsey Graham in that position. So I wanted to go back to post 2261, because Q has been talking about the elections, how the Senate was the key, and way back, Q said, and not really that far back, September 21st, said that FISA brings down the House. So post 2261, because people have been worrying about, like, ooh, look, the Dems, the deep state, they used election fraud to get their individuals into the House. The Senate was pretty close, but Q said it was going to be 53 to 47, and it was. And right now, the deep state, the Dems, they have the House. So in post 2261, Q says the following: panic in D.C. Loretta Lynch talking. Truth revealed Tarmac, Bill Clinton, and that's brackets bold. Loretta Lynch talking. Truth revealed Comey, Hillary Rodham Clinton email case. Loretta Lynch talking. Eagles truth revealed Hussein instructions, Hillary Rodham Clinton email case. Loretta Lynch talking. Truth revealed Brennan no name coordinated to frame POTUS. Under this it says FISA equals start. FISA brings down the House. When do birds sing? Q. Now, an Anon on HN made an observation on how Q was so sure that D class brings down the House. And this is the theory. There will be a lot more Dem House members who are arrested than Rep House members, partly because the dirty Rep members retired and are already out of office. So when the D class falls and the indictments are unsealed, that 26 net loss of House seats for reps may just turn into a net gain, meaning we'll take back the House. Let's move on to post 2496. And this says, panic in D.C. Did Whitaker remove special counselor special articles inserted by Rod Rosenstein, RE expanded scope V2. What was the scope narrowed to the original mandate assigned? Item used when walking a dog. Basically, Whitaker put a leash on Mueller, and the scope was narrowed to the original mandate. And Mueller is now controlled. Post 2497. Q put up a Twitter link, and this is Maggie Haberman. And it says, OH on the Q train intercom. Attention passengers, the intercom phone is for emergencies only. It is not for asking the conductor questions. Under this, it says FBI 3, Department of Justice 1, people are nervous. Q. So, Haberman is a Clinton deep state operative. Her name appeared in the Podesta leaks. Now, Q listed the FBI 3, Department of Justice 1, and this might mean that there are 3 bad actors left in the FBI, and there's 1 bad actor left in the Department of Justice. And they're still trying to get these individuals out. So what does this tweet actually mean? Well, some Anons decided to dig a little deeper, and they started to put things together here. Now we need to go back to the date when Q said 11/11/18. It was 11.11.18. Well, this might not have been a date, because some Anons are looking at this, and they're saying, actually, this is the beginning part of an IP address. So Anons took this, and they figured, let's see where this is. Well, 11.11.18 is the Department of Defense in Ohio. So if we look at what Maggie Haberman says, she says the following. OH, Ohio, on the Q train intercom. Attention passengers, the intercom phone is for emergencies only. It is not for asking the conductor questions. Now an Anon decided to explain all this. What if Maggie tend to lurking on the chans and she sees Anons discover about OH, Ohio, IP address? She wrote using a code. Q train intercom equals 8chan. 8chan is the conduit to comms for Q. Attention passengers equals all the bad ones in scene. The message, the intercom phone is for emergencies only. To cut all communications. Q post this because this is not a game. Just coming. We have it all. Just a theory. So it looks like she is talking about the way Q posts. And it looks like they're trying to cut Q off. And Q is letting us know and showing us that they're communicating and they're talking about Q and they know that this is a problem. And it looks like these Anons found out that this 11/11/18 is really the IP, the beginning part of the IP address of the Department of Defense. It's unbelievable. Post 2498. Q put up everything that was in Post 2497 and added 2 New York Times articles. One about Ivanka's Trump email. The other one about the President Trump Justice Department. And under this it says, do you believe in coincidences? Think D5, panic in DC, Q. So what's very interesting, and we'll get into these articles in just a moment, Tom Fitton tweeted out on November 21st the following. The Ivanka Trump email story pops up shortly after a federal court orders Hillary Clinton to answer key questions on her email scheme. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. No, it's not. They're trying to use projection to make people think, well, Ivanka did it, so it's okay for Clinton. But we discussed this yesterday. Ivanka didn't have a private email server. Ivanka didn't delete 30,000 private emails. Ivanka wasn't the Secretary of State. She wasn't passing classified information back and forth. She didn't leave a server unsecured in her home. It's a very, very big difference. And this is basically what they're trying to do. So this is a story that was created last year. They're bringing it up now. And they're also bringing up the story about Trump wanting to prosecute Hillary and Comey. The mainstream media and the deep state know what's coming, and that is pain. So the fake news is attacking POTUS, the Department of Justice interference, and Ivanka Trump email usage. So think about what happened here. Mueller is now leashed. Whitaker has control over him. Whitaker is moving forward with everything, and they don't like it, and they know what's coming. Now, Pompeo came out with something very interesting, and he was responding to Saudi Arabia and talking about the Khashoggi murder. And Pompeo said the following, that this is a matter of national security. It is not a matter of arms sales. And I said this yesterday. Think about what the intelligence agencies and all the deep state players are doing right now. We're going to be looking at what they are saying, and this will confirm that this was a complete setup, because as you can see, the mainstream media and these intelligence operatives, the deep state, they are pushing very, very hard for Trump to do something. But Sybil Edmonds tweeted out the following today. And this is very interesting about Khashoggi. Just found out Khashoggi was not U.S. legal resident, never got residency in USA. Remember last week, we also broke Khashoggi only months before his consulate trip got married to an Egyptian woman, which raises serious questions about the Turkish fiancé story. Just ask yourself, case one, why the mainstream media knowingly kept lying and stating that he was a U.S. resident. 2, why is the mainstream media, despite knowledge, Washington Post, hid his recent and well-known marriage and promoted fiancé story? 3, why has the mainstream media been blacking out real reason for his trip to Turkey? She continues, the mainstream media lied about his background. He works with the Muslim Brotherhood. His U.S. residency status, he is not. His Soros NGO business, his recent marriage to an Egyptian woman, his alleged fiancé, the real reason he went to Turkey and his new business there. So basically, this was a setup, which we all know. Let's look at what the deep state is saying about all of this. Sally Yates. In a single day, POTUS turns a blind eye to the barbaric murder of journalists, and we learn that he tried to order Department of Justice to go after his political adversaries. Is there no depth to which he will not sink? We can't let him drag America down with him. Samantha Power. It is a mean and nasty world, but Trump's siding with the meanest and nastiest out there. Whether Duterte, Sisi, Putin, or assassin MBS will leave the world even nastier. This statement is a green light for would-be murderers in countries that have things Trump thinks we need. John Brennan. Since Mr. Trump excels in dishonesty, it is now up to members of Congress to obtain a declassify the CIA findings on Jamal Khashoggi's death. No one in Saudi Arabia, most especially the Crown Prince, should escape accountability for such a heinous act. Why are they all pushing Khashoggi? This was a setup from the beginning. They wanted Trump to sanction and punish Saudi Arabia. This is about them pushing their agenda to have Trump crash the entire system. Saudi Arabia is the linchpin to the entire economic system. And if Trump went ahead with what they wanted to do, he would have been blamed for it. He knows it. The Patriots know it. The military intelligence, they know the real story. They know that this was concocted. And believe me, it will come out later on. Think about all the things that have happened already. The deep state, the mainstream media, they're publishing Ivanka's emails. 75 judges are waiting to be confirmed. Whitaker previously outlined a plan to keep Mueller's investigation on a tight leash by defunding it. U.S. suspends aid to Pakistan and Afghanistan. Head of National Park Service Climate Change Adaptation Program resigns. December 5th, this day in history. Flynn's birthday is on the 5th of December. Coincidence? Most likely not. Judicial Watch. Justice may provide redacted portions of Rosenstein-Mueller scope memo. New POTUS tweet, America first. And Anon went on to say, Sessions served his country. Huber is getting ready. The plan is genius and in action. We won the Senate. D-class is coming. Voter fraud equals voter ID. Thank you, Q and POTUS. Where we go one, we go all. Now, Joe M. at The Storm is Upon Us tweeted out the following. The cabal have been running a coordinated mass blackout drill exercise. They phrased it to prevent suspicion, but social networks, telecoms, and iTunes consecutively tested. When the big stuff hits, they will flip the disconnect switch to shield them from exposure. Now, I want to bring us back to Post 61, and you'll see why this all makes sense. Back then, this is November 2nd, 2017, an anonymous put up, please refer back and collect my crumbs. As discussed, we've anticipated the Twitter and other social media blackouts. Rogue agents, programmers, per-sealed federal orders. We quickly tracked and reinstated. Expect outages periodically. Infiltrated. If this doesn't signal what I've been saying, I don't know what will. Let's fast forward to Post 2298, September 29, 2018. Twitter has been given the green light to blanket censor all content deemed threaten their survival. Google, Facebook will follow. Expect comms blackout attempt. POTUS Twitter. Rogue employee excuse. welcome to the police state. So Q has been telling us about a social media blackout. Now, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, they have been experiencing outages. And if we go to downdetector.com, we can see that Twitter has experienced an outage on October 30th, 31st, and 13th. Facebook, November 19th, November 20th, November 20th. YouTube, November 15th, November 18th, November 20th. Google, November 12th, November 13th, November 18th. And Google has had another outage at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Is this a coincidence, or are they preparing for the social media platforms to go dark when the news hits? Because this cannot be a coincidence. We've used these systems before. I've never seen YouTube completely go down the way it did and stay down for quite a while. I think they are inserting programs and testing to see if it works, if they have the ability to shut it down with a flick of a switch. And I think this programming is going into each one of these social media platforms to do it all at once. Now think about it. If they shut down POTUS, they shut down the alternative media, they shut down everyone talking about it, what is left? The mainstream media. That's where everyone will get their news, and this is exactly what they want. But we know that Q has been telling us they have taken precautions for all of this. And maybe they have the ability to stop this. Maybe they have something to counter all of this. But we know it's going to drop, and it's going to begin on December 5th. All the placeholders are in place. And Q has told us that this is much, much bigger than anyone has ever thought. This goes way past just arresting people. This goes way past fixing the Federal Reserve economy, the central bank economy. This goes way past what everyone thinks. The entire system needs to be cleansed, and it needs to be reset. This is what Q, Trump, the Patriots are talking about. So this way, nobody gets back into power and allows it to happen again. Because if they can reset it and remove all of this, it will take many, many years for the deep state, the central banks, to come into power. And people will remember who was responsible for all of this. And this is why it's taking time. I know people want arrests, but arrests are not going to do it. Because if you just arrest them and Trump is then voted out and someone else comes in, guess what? It starts all over again. And these people, they'll be let out of prison. They'll be pardoned. And they'll be put right back into their positions. This is why the plan is intricate. This is why everything has to be in place. This is why you have to remove the corruption from within inside, the judges, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the rest. This is why there is a plan. But the whole thing is coming down around the deep state. The hammer is coming down, and there's lightning bolts shooting out of it. And the deep state, they are panicking in DC.